It's a real pleasure to be with you here today. So I'm Roman. I work for Ogury. I'm pretty sure that most of you don't know Ogury yet. It's normal. This is the first time we talk to so many gaming publishers just in a row. So just to give you a few words, I don't have no slide for this, so I'm going to be short. We are 220 people. We've been 4 years in the market industry, and we established in 12 different offices. And Ogury is a solution that publishers use to maximize their user engagement and ad monetization. Basically, it's a technology company that is specialized in mobile journey marketing. So you may wonder what's mobile journey marketing. It's just a very new concept that we're bringing to the market. And basically, the technology that we have developed, it's powered by artificial intelligence that is going to analyze the raw signals from the smartphone users, for the users of the smartphone of the users. And from these raw signals, we are going to create data. From this data, we are going to generate insights. And from those insights, you're going to be able to inform your mobile marketing strategy. And so, as a result, publishers use us in order to maximize user engagement and ad revenue. But today, the real subject of everything is how to level up, how to switch from a small indie developers to an established studio. And today, I'm going to share trends and observation, talking to many different gaming studios in the world, from very little to very big studio. And that would include advices, trends that we observed, how to use premium data to your advantage, how to find simplicity in your tech ad stack, but also how to maximize your ad revenue. So the first thing that I would like to start with is some global figures. So thanks, Chris, for bringing some of those, because actually that was the first slide of what I had prepared for today. So the future looks bright for us because global app downloads and consumer spend will reach new high. This is a report made by Apani. And basically, we see that annual mobile downloads will reach 258 billion, which is a growth of 45% from last year, while actually consumer spend in store will almost double by 2022. And we know that the average annual consumer spend will reach $26 per device, which is an increase of 23%. And when we try to understand when this growth is coming from and how it's supported, actually you can see that the gaming industry represents 72.5% of the global spend in the stores, which is huge. The thing is that when we look at how the users are going to use their phone, it's a very nice thing for the industry because we know that the average time spent in-app per day will increase over the last year. Next year, we expect to be 2 hours 43 minutes. We expect that to be beyond 3 hours in a couple of years, which is huge. This is a great thing for the industry, less for your brain and for your thumb. The thing is that, the really interesting thing is that you can see how stable the mobile web remains, while the in-app takes the lead. And when we look at what happened during the last 2 years, we saw that a new game genre has emerged on the market. And this new game genre is hyper-casual games. This is just a snapshot of what's happening like 2 days ago in the stores. On the left, you can see the overall ranking of all the games and all apps that have been ranked by Apani and coming from, this is iOS statistic. And basically, you see that 2 to 3 games in the global overall ranking, 2 to 3 apps are actually game. And when you look at the gaming ranking, 3 to 4 apps are actually hyper-casual games. So we can see that there is like a lot of traction by hyper-casual games. Users love them. And you can see like, why do they love them? Because they are just like very addictive. So I took just 2 examples of Voodoo. I'm pretty sure you have heard this studio. They have raised like $200 million. Now the real question is that what they are going to do about it. On the right, you got a game from Lion Game Studio, which actually was Applovin has invested a lot of money in that studio. So you can see that a lot of actors are coming to the market because they want to share those games. And as you can see here, like the time sessions are very short. On average, users are going to spend like 10 minutes for an hyper-casual game like this one. As a comparison, like a game like Candy Crush, for example, users are going to stay more than 20 minutes. So you see that the time, they are very addictive. It's just a very simple mechanics. So basically, it's more open to everybody. My grandmother can play those games. but the session is shortened. So the thing is to understand when the user don't play those games, what are they doing on their phone? And the thing that you will most probably know is that what your user are doing when they use your game, but I've got one question for you today. What users do when they do not use your app? Most of you will say, I don't know. Because most of the tools that you got today on the market will help you understand what your users are doing. So you got some very amazing analytics tools, tracking tools that helps you understand the number of sessions, retention, tracking, where the traffic is coming from. But actually, when they stop using their game, what do they do? This is what we do at Ogury, and today I'm really pleased to share with you. We are working right now on a gaming insights study that will be released at the end of the year, and actually I'm going to share some few highlights with you today in avant-première. So just for the matter of this presentation, we have decided just to pick some stats, but of course you can come to see us. We got like just a table over there, and we take the time to explain more in detail what's happening right here. So for the matter of this presentation, we have decided to focus on 3 games categories. The first one is casual games. Think about Candy Crush, for example. Hyper casual, like the 2 games that you've seen before, and what we call arbitrage 2. Arbitrage is games like mostly rely on words or like cards or stuff like this. The study is very fresh because it takes into account the last 4 months, so until the 31st of August, and this is just a worldwide study. So the first thing that we wanted to analyze is very simple. Is there a relationship between the games and the type of age and gender that are using those games? And what we have realized is that actually for casual and arbitrage games, those games are mostly used by women. And when we look at the age category, you can see that the biggest part of it is led by 45 to 54 years old. While when we compare that with hyper-casual games, you can see that actually the users are mostly men with younger audience. So the thing that we want to understand is that, is this age and gender category has an impact on how the game is going to be used on a daily basis. And what we have seen, this is the app possession and usage benchmark for the 3 categories, and on top left you can see this is the average of those 3 categories. What we call app activity is the number of times the app has been used during a week time period. So high activity, the app has been used 6 or 7 days. Low activity, the app has been used 1 or 2 days per week. Okay? Few highlights here. What you can see is that actually, remember, mostly women for casual and arbitrage game, and you can see that those kind of 2 games really attract the people, and those users are playing it like every week on a daily basis. While for hyper-casual, you can see that the level of activity, the high activity is very low, and actually you've got like a huge proportion of inactive users for a week time period. So the question here is to understand, what do they do when they are not using this app? Are they just stopping using their phone? Or are they using like other competitors' app? Here, what we can see is we have ranked the studio. We can't like reveal the names, but this is just like an extract of the report that we are doing right now. You can see top left the exclusive owner. This is like, if you think like at the smartphone level, you can say that Casual Studio One, 81% of those users just own an app from Casual Studio One. And you can see on the left that actually many of the studios that you can see are casual and arbitrage. While for shared owner, most of the studios that are on the right are actually hyper-casual studios. So the thing that we deduct here is that the audience from those guys are very volatile, and so they spend time, switching from one app to another. Let's take an example and look at the hyper-casual one studio. And here, this is what we call the ultimate knowledge, because this is the mobile marketing, the mobile journey of a user on a smartphone. And here you can see what's happening on the mobile user journey of all the users using apps from Hyper-Casual Studio One. Clearly, you can see, so it's a bit complicated, but the first column is what have they done 15 days before using their app, what have they done during the same day, and what have they done 15 days after. We can, of course, tweak this time period, but it's just a matter of the presentation. We've done it this way. And what you can see here is that hyper-casual 1 can see what his users are doing before using its app, during the same day, and after. Users here are really liking the apps coming from the hyper-casual 2 and hyper-casual Studio 4. And actually, you can see that 3 of the 5 studios that are ranked here are actually hyper-casual studios. Conclusion here. What about if tomorrow, instead of switching to a competitor's app, your user could stay in the same environment? We know that those studios rely mostly on ads to make money, so the whole concept is to be sure that you're going to show enough ads to those users in order to make them profitable. So tomorrow, the thing that we know is that hyper-casual studios are not really strong right now, they are not strong enough to build right here like an ecosystem of users. And I just wanted to show you some like clear example of what's happening on the market. I think you all remember 3 years ago when Facebook has decided to remove the Messenger functionality to create a new app. This is what I call like a forced ecosystem. And here are the results. This is the cross-app usage between Facebook and Messenger over a month period. And as you can see here, 83% of people that own both apps has used both apps in the one month period. So this is clearly, like you see, you are forced to use Messenger in order to write to your friends. And actually, let's now have a look at what's happening between Facebook, for example, and WhatsApp. The shared owner drop a lot, 30 points less. So this is like a good example of not forced ecosystem. Now let's have a look at what's happening between WhatsApp Messenger and, for example, a gaming studio. Clash of Clans. I love that game, by the way. And here you can see that actually there is no so much relationship between the two. Just 4% of the owner of WhatsApp are using Clash of Clans during the same month. And now let's have a look between two apps of the same studio. And here you can see that actually Clash of Clans and Clash Royale, they have Supercell Studio has created like an ecosystem of the user that they love their game. It's not 80% like actually Facebook, because I'm not telling you here you need to force your user to play your other games, but the relationship here is to say that maybe you will have like a proportion of those users that will be able to stay in the same ecosystem, and as they keep on playing your game, you create like a very loyal user community. And this is what's happening on the hyper-casual studio. So I picked some two apps. We can do the exercise. We got like the system here. We can pick your games versus like some bigger game studios. And you can see that here only almost 7% of the share owner are using the same app during the same month. So the key takeaway that I want to share with you here, it's a bit long. We still have a bit of time in front of us, so it's okay, is that hyper-casual games attract more and more users, which attract also more studios because the business opportunity is here. The thing is that, keep in mind that those hyper-casual users are very different from casual and arbitrage categories. Mostly men, and actually they are a younger audience. Those users will switch more easily toward other apps. And actually, as the user is shortened, it decreases more quickly over time than other games. It will be harder for you just to create like a good ecosystem to find profitability with your ads. Tomorrow, the studio using at best those information could create a complementary app system. They could do like cross-app promotion in order to create like a real ecosystem. And the thing is that if tomorrow you start understanding your user when they are not using your app, you will be able to get like a very clear advantage on the market in order to be better than competition. And with cross-app promotion, you will be able to promote your app all the time. Most of the games rely on ads. As I said, you need to make sure that the user see enough ads to find profitability. So now comes another problem. If tomorrow you have developed your amazing games and you want to reach the market, this is how the mobile market looks like. So you can see that there are many actors in the market. It will be like really hard to understand. Just look at how big the mobile ad network industry is. So there are not all of that. This is coming from Luma landscape, so you can do your own as well. But there are many studios. Just for the matter of simplification here, and to just help you a bit, you will realize that, let's have a look on how many SDK are integrated within games app. So what you can see is that 18.6 SDK are integrated in games, which is not that bad. This is quite big. And actually, when you wonder what are the two most used SDK in the game industry, first is analytics, understand your user. Second, advertising. And then you will get like payment, social, crash reporting, location, and even attribution at the last part. When we talk about, and we want to understand, among the almost 20 SDK integrated games, how many SDK are about advertising? The overall category for all apps in the world are 6, but when we come to games, it's between 9 to 10. So you will need 9 to 10 ad network, advertising SDK, in order to do a good monetization system. And the thing is that when you look at the advertising partner integrating in game, I picked some here, but you have like many others as well. You will realize that some of them are just ad networks, some of them are mediation system. Keep in mind that none of the networks here are the strongest all the time for all your users. You need to find a solution that will optimize on what we call the ad request level. Every time that you want to display an impression to a user, you need to be sure that this network is going to pay the most for this specific ad. And the thing is that the bigger you will be, the bigger those ad networks will come after you to manage and make some deals with you, which is normal because they want to give you some tips in your user acquisition, they want to log your inventory to deliver their campaign. It's like the global ecosystem works this way. The thing is that when you're developing games, most of the time you will display ads in your game coming from other games. So remember, you will keep on recruiting some users that will see ads coming from other games, so you will make them go to use other games in the industry. Do you really want that? No. Okay. So the thing is that keep in mind that advertising partner integrated in game, you need to be sure that they will be optimized on the ad request level. And tomorrow you will see that those guys, they will look after what we call the first impression. This is a report coming from Joomla, which analyzes like the differences of performances between ad network. And you can see how different the first impression price is much higher than the average. Why do network want the first impression? It's very simple, because the first impression converts more for them when they do some user acquisition campaign. Just like, to put in simple, when you're in a game, you're using that game, after a moment, you will be attracted by the first ad, but then when you see 10, 15 rewarded video, after a moment, you're not that much into it, so you will just keep them in order to keep on playing your games. So in that context, as you can see, there's a lot of advertising partners. You need to make sure that you will optimize all the advertising partner on the ad request level. Try to look for a solution that is going to be unbiased, because this is the best way to be sure that all the networks are going to provide you most of the ad revenue. Okay? So this is what I wanted to share with you today. So those are few stats, few trends that we observe on the market. And what I wanted to do is to bring someone on stage that lived the story from the inside. And I would like to welcome Adrien. So give him a round of applause, please. So Adrien, thanks a lot for flying with us today at PGC. Would you like to tell us a bit more about eSchool Entertainment and who you are? Actually, who are you?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Romain, for inviting me, and good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining this early session today. So I'm Adrien. I'm the CEO of eSchool Entertainment. So eSchool Entertainment is a studio based in France. We are roughly 35 people. And we are today, in your terminology, I guess I would be in the arbitrage game. One word about eSchool. We have been acquired last year by Hachette Group. So Hachette Group, as you may know, is a leading book publisher, so the whole world. And as you may also know, the book publishing market is less booming than the mobile gaming market, so they have decided to enter a more booming market, and they have done 3 acquisitions so far. The first one was Neon Play, a UK-based studio in hyper-casual games. The second one was Brainbow. It's a studio editing the Peak app. It's a brain training app. I guess you might know it. And the third one was us. So if you want to chat about this later in the day, I'll be very happy because Hachette has a good ambition in this sector. So coming back to eSchool, so we are... I'll make the long story very short because every studio has a long story, but let's summarize the last 8 years in the following way. The first phase of the studio was about Facebook games, so talking back, on Facebook brother games. Business model was about microtransaction, and marketing was about virality, so 0 paid marketing. And it worked pretty well at that time, but then we had, of course, this platform changed. So the phase 2 of the company was about mobile games, still on the microtransaction, and marketing was, I would say, half virality, half paid marketing. This was a bit more difficult for us for many reasons, so we had to change things. The good point is that we survived, and we got better teams, but we had to change a bit. So here comes the phase 3 for now 1 year, and that's the reason why I think I'm there with you. The phase 3 is about mobile games. It's more about business model around advertising. So it's now our games are 80% monetized in ads. And the third point is marketing is exclusively paid marketing. I mean, there's no more virality, nothing you can expect. So for example, on the left side, you've got a word game, which is typically in our arbitrage game. So this is something new we have. A lot of ads you can see in this game. So after every level. And on the right, it's more like the phase 2 game, so it's a real PvP game. It looks very simple, but it is quite complicated, and at the end, quite difficult to make those games very big, because you have difficulty to get an audience.
Okay. Okay. Could you tell us a bit more what you have seen in the last year on the market? I think you mentioned one time the difference between top grossing and the top 3.
Yeah, I think among the developer community there was something that we were all looking at the top grossing ranking. I mean, this was the only thing we wanted to have a look, because without ads you cannot really monetize a sort of a top 3 that wouldn't be in the top grossing. So, but in our mindset now we really look at the top 3, and this top 3 is trusted by the hyper-casual and arbitrage game, because there you can have, in fact, low CPIs, so you can, with investing a lot of money, you can really go in the top rankings, and I think we have shorter ROIs. I can give you my experience. When we were doing microtransaction games and things like that, our ROI was a positive ROI. We got it, but after 12 to 15 months, so it was really long. So you need a lot of cash if you want to fuel the machine. We were quite a small studio. And with arbitrage game, now we achieve something like 3 months maximum to get the positive ROI. So there you can invest really, and there you can play the rankings and things like that. So we are still small. It's an ongoing story, what I'm telling about, but we are on this way, and it's really something I think was a good move for our team.
And talking about results, could you tell us a bit more regarding what you achieved, regarding ARPDAU or ad revenue, for example?
Well, I don't have the exact figures. I know you have them, so you might tell them. I don't have them myself. But what I know is that all the growth we did in the year was made in ads. And this was, I have to say, let's put it this way. When you want to change and do what we did with our studio, we had to think about change the way we build games. Okay, so this was something we had to put the new mindset in the team and build games in a new way. Then you have to deal with the UA, and we decided to deal with the user acquisition ourselves to make it in-house. And then you have to deal with the ads monetization. And it's easy on the slide, but ad monetization is not so easy. So this is where we decided to build our partnership. So basically, we're doing the games ourselves, we're doing the UA ourselves, and the ad monetization is a bit externalized in Romain's company. In fact, this is where we met 1 year ago.
And when we were talking about how complex the market is regarding when you start your own games and you want to achieve, we know that execution is key and speed is key in this market because users are switching all the time, so you need to renew your game all the time. So what decision that you have made regarding this technology, regarding the SDK integrated in that?
Well, there were 3 reasons leading the fact we work together, and I think those 3 things are quite key for the successful partnership we have achieved. The first one is, I don't know the reason why, but we were not good at implementing the advertising SDKs. We were always late on updating because I don't know, those of you who have a lot of experience in ad monetization, it will sound very easy, but for those of you who are not used to that, when you are monetizing with ads, you got to have all those SDKs, but all those SDKs, you have to update them very regularly. Otherwise, you can't get the right revenue you expect, or you have bugs, etc. And we were not good at that. So we needed something, we needed to defocus our technical team from the ads, to focus them on the game. So basically, the Romain solution provides us with a sort of, I would say, a meta SDK, including everything. And this one is tested and updated regularly by his company, so we just have to integrate it to get the update. So on the technical point of view, from the feedback from my developer was quite good, so this is interesting. The second point is a question of team, and I had nobody to take care of the ad, and you need what we call ad ops to make the ad work. So somebody will really do the setup on the mediation tool. Somebody will talk with the networks, etc. And this we haven't had anybody in-house, so we decided to externalize this, and this is Romain's team doing that for us.
Okay.
And the third point, the third point is quite interesting. Is there is a question in this advertising market? Is when you go in a game, you see only ads for other games. Okay, I don't have anything about that. I don't care where the money comes from, but it's quite strange not to have money coming from, I don't know, FMCG, automotive. Where are the Procter & Gamble's, the Mercedes-Benz, etc., etc.? So we really wanted to include a partner who can bring this kind of advertisers, and the network Ogury brings those advertisers. Alors, it works only on Android, so there's no solution on iOS for the moment. But this is an interesting solution for us, and so maybe if some are interested to test, we can have a chat and I can give you feedback about that.
Okay, thanks, Adrien. I think it's time for questions. Do any one of you have some questions?
Come on, I know it's early.
Was that clear?
You must have questions. He's tripled his advertising revenue. This is good. That must be something you're interested in.
That was a difficult
good question. Exercise. Is the starting point,
Yeah. That's the starting. How are you going to double it again? That's the question.
Exactly.
But what would you say? What would you say is the most important kind of first step, or the most important tip for people looking at optimizing their kind of their revenue? Using your services like your own, what's the first thing they need to do, apart from obviously get you on the phone and talk to you guys?
I think the first thing is to get some advices from other publishers, what they are doing, because you need to win sometimes. You won't have time to try everything on the market, so you need to be sure to try the most trusted partner and verified partners. Then the second question is more philosophical. All those partners are going to be biased or unbiased, so you need to create a system which is going to create whole transparency between those partners and make sure that if they really want to fight for your first impression, they need to really fight in real time for that. Deals can be a good way to level up like a studio, but after a moment, talking with the biggest studio, and some of them, we have coded some of them before, what we realized is that those studios remove themselves from making deals with some ad network, because they know that they are locked in the way, and they can't grow the way they want just after. So you need to make sure that you find a good equilibrium between, like, maybe at the stage that you are right now, maybe it could be a good way to make some deals, but then maybe later it won't be anymore. Create like an unbiased mediation system, and then you will go and look for the best for your ad revenue.
There you go. There's somebody saying do an unbiased system.
Yeah, unbiased.
Who's trying to sell you something? That's amazing. I think. Is there any other questions? It's early morning in Finland. This is
exactly.
But if they're not, I'd like to say a massive thank you to Romain and to Adrien for their presentations. I hope you got a lot out of that. So give a round of applause, please.
Thank you.